Okay. Do you think you know what research or what introduction is going to work best for you? That's great. Now, how do you actually do this and how do you put it in? And this is something that we call CARS. Create a research space. Oftentimes when we go through and we do our research, we know that it's connected to kind of that larger general thing. We know that there's an exigence there. We know that there's a reason for the research, that it does connect to what's in magazines and newspapers and pop culture and social media right now. We know that it's important. Unfortunately, academic research tends to be quite dry. So what we need to do is to find a way to create a research space. This is done in the introduction. If we do not create that research space, then a very, very limited number of people is actually going to read our research. So just to let you know, for a lit review, something that's as short as ours is, we don't need to build a big research space. All that we need is that little paragraph background context that's able to just be there in the background when we discuss the context, when we discuss current exigence, things like that. We don't need an entire introduction because our lit review is so short. Um, but when you go through and you start to actually write big research papers, make sure that you're able to create a research space for yourself so that more people listen, so that you can have your research picked up by somebody else to reframe it for a general audience, for a general public. Um, that's good. Usually, when we create a research space, there's 3 moves that you need to do. Um, Move one is to establish territory. All right, establish territory. That's usually when we go through and have um, that general, right? This is one. If I label the 6 introduction types, right? Established territory would certainly be number 1. We're showing that it is important, that it is central to who we're talking about, to what we're talking about. Um, it also goes through and gives all of the kind of background information that's necessary for them to pull in there. Um, Next one, establish a niche, right? This is most usefully number 5, right? That gap that you have in there. It indicates that something is missing, that something more needs to be done. And then, most importantly, we occupy that niche. Right? You going through and being able to have something where you have that unexpected or have that reframing, that goes through and says why you're able to occupy that. What is the niche and why are you? Why does your project, your research, your ideas occupy that niche and kind of fill in that gap? So, when you go through and are doing your introduction, I want you to think about creating a research space for your project.